As a residential property developer, you aren't trying to reinvent the wheel every time you do a development. The key is to understand what designs work with what block dimensions. In this video, I'm going to share two specific side-by-side dual occupancy designs that we here at Little Fish have pushed through our machine for ourselves, investors and clients countless times to make millions of dollars. Hey guys, Peter Kelly here from Little Fish Property Developments. We help you maximize the value of your land and generate wealth through low-risk residential development project. On this channel, we share everything you need to deliver successful projects time and time again. So if that's something that you're into, then hit the subscribe button and hit the bell notifications so you don't miss anything. When you are scouring the net trying to identify the perfect site to develop, you'll start to uncover that certain areas that lend themselves to specific types of developments, such as dual occupancies, mainly due to the dimensions that the blocks have been cut into. Residential property development isn't all that difficult, and it doesn't need to be. The trick is to understand what works on what specific site dimensions and match it with the right side-by-side dual occupancy design. After you have figured it out, there's no problem with going back to the well. In fact, if you're in the business of maximizing your returns, then going back to the well is exactly what you want to be doing. Cookie cutter, sausage machine, whatever you want to call it, it's all about rinse and repeat. By leveraging previous dual occupancy designs and using a strategy like this, you'll encounter less resistance from the authorities that you need to work with to get your required approvals. Never forget the impact that time has to your bottom line as a developer. You can't afford to be getting held up at any point. You need to have a clear understanding of what designs can be achieved on the various block sizes. It can be somewhat of a balancing act because you don't want to be costing yourself time trying to fit square pegs into round holes, and on the flip side, you need to ensure that you don't leave any chips on the table. So you need to be confident that you're maximizing the true value of your land. The last thing you want is to be getting held up due to a lack of understanding of what you should be aiming to achieve. You can't underestimate the value of knowing what can be achieved on the various block dimensions that you come across. First up, we are going to look at a side-by-side design that has a 12-meter frontage. These are the type of dwellings that you can achieve on a 12-meter frontage doing a side-by-side dual occupancy project. As you can see in this particular design, we didn't go boundary to boundary, but it's important to note that it's not uncommon to have one or both going to the boundary, depending on site-specific variables that you'll need to consider, such as site coverage and shadowing as a couple of the examples. That said, we have found that buyers do tend to like side access. So as with most things when designing side-by-side dual occupancy projects, it can be a balancing act littered with educated decisions. You'll also notice that we've gone with the carports on this particular site. We did this so we could get an additional room, which was the dedicated study at the front. Both dwellings are still substantial offerings with 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, a dedicated study, and an open kitchen and living. The main thing to be aware of is that they are on the skinny side. We've sold countless projects like this, so it's not a big issue, but something you definitely need to be aware of. Next up, we have a side-by-side dual occupancy design with a 15-meter frontage. These are clearly much larger dwellings than the previous example of a 12-meter frontage. As you can see, we have gone boundary to boundary with the garages scooping up the entire 15 meters. Access to the rear is through the garages, which is pretty common and something we've never really had any pushback from our buyers. Buyers are much more educated these days, and they understand that there needs to be some give and take when purchasing a side-by-side dual occupancy dwelling. These dwellings down in Altona are a serious size. They each offer the lock-up garage, 4 large bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, and 2 separate living areas. A significant difference in what can be achieved compared to a 12-meter frontage. These are only 2 specific examples of a side-by-side dual occupancy design. As you build up your portfolio of sites and ultimately your designs, it will start to become more obvious what designs work with what site dimensions. Experience and knowledge will go a long way to making sure you leave no chips on the table and you rinse your project for every dollar. That's it, guys. If you have any questions, drop them down in the comments, and if you have any topics that you'd like us to sink our teeth into, please let us know. Our goal is to help you all become successful developers in any way we can. So if you haven't already subscribed, make sure you do if making money through residential property developing is your thing. I'm Peter Kelly. Thanks for watching, and until next time, happy developing.